So picture this. You travel for days, right? You cross hundreds of thousands of miles of space to get to the moon, closer than any human being has been in 50 years. You can see it right there, just outside your window. And then you just turn around and come home. It sounds kind of weird, but that's exactly what the 4 astronauts on NASA's Artemis II mission did. So what's really going on here? What's the real story behind this incredible journey that stopped just short of a landing?
As their Orion capsule was just cruising over the moon's surface, the Artemis II crew saw a world that, well, you just can't imagine. They were literally at the moon's doorstep, getting an up-close and personal view for the first time in half a century. And from everything they've said, it was an absolutely unbelievable, awe-inspiring experience.
And this wasn't just about technical readouts and checking boxes. This was deeply human. I mean, listen to these words from astronaut Victor Glover. He says it felt like he was personally walking on those mountains. You can just feel how tantalizingly close they were. They weren't just looking at the moon, they were connecting with it across that huge void of space.
And the view? Oh, the view was something else. Through the windows of that capsule, they saw this world of incredible detail. Countless craters, massive fissures carved into the surface, giant mountain ranges. They even saw a rare Earthrise, watching our little blue planet rise up over the lunar horizon. Plus, they got the closest look anyone's ever had of the mysterious Orientale Basin, this massive ancient crater that holds so many clues about the moon's wild past.
Okay, so this brings us to the big puzzle, right? The central question of this whole thing. After seeing all of that, after feeling that connection, after traveling all that way, why in the world would you not land? It's the question that just pops into your head. I mean, they were right there. After all that work, all that travel, all the risk, why turn back? But see, it wasn't because of fear, and it wasn't a failure. The answer is way more strategic, and honestly, a lot smarter. And here it is. The real goal of Artemis II was never, ever to land on the moon. Its purpose was something that you could argue is even more important for the future of space travel. It was a test. A full-scale, deep space dress rehearsal with human lives on the line.
You know, the common assumption is pretty simple. You fly to the moon, you land on the moon. Makes sense, right? But the reality for Artemis II was completely different. This mission was all about testing the Orion spacecraft, making sure it was absolutely ready and safe for a future landing.
So what were they actually testing? Well, basically everything. This was the first time this ship had ever flown with people on board, so they had to check every single critical system. You know, can the life support actually handle a long mission in deep space? Is the spacecraft safe out there? How about those brand new optical communication systems? Can they really beam massive amounts of data back to Earth? They had to get solid answers to all these questions and iron out every possible risk before even dreaming of a landing attempt.
But there's a second reason they didn't land, and it's actually super simple. They didn't have the right tool for the job. Think of the Orion capsule like a high-tech deep space taxi. Its whole purpose is to get astronauts safely from Earth all the way to lunar orbit, and then bring them home again. Its job is the journey, not the final descent to the surface. To actually get down onto the moon's surface, you need this, a completely separate vehicle called a lunar lander. It's a specialized piece of equipment designed for one thing and one thing only, dropping out of orbit and touching down safely. And the lander for the Artemis program, it's still being built and tested. They simply didn't have one with them.
And that's because this mission wasn't some one-off shot at the moon. No, it's a super important piece of a much larger, very methodical plan. NASA is playing the long game here, carefully and safely planning humanity's return to the moon. And here's that plan, laid out nice and simple. Step 1 was Artemis I. That was the test flight with no crew, just to make sure the Orion capsule could make the trip. That was a success. Step 2 was this mission, Artemis II, doing the same journey but with a crew, to test all the life support systems. Another success. And only after these 2 successful tests can we move on to Step 3, Artemis 3 and 4. Those are the missions that will finally put human boots back on the lunar surface.
So, the whole point here is this. It's all about safety and being prepared. The step-by-step approach makes sure that every single system, every procedure is tested, double-checked, and proven to work before they try the incredibly risky and complex job of landing people on another world. So when you look at it that way, the entire mission is reframed. What might have looked like a trip that fell just short was, in reality, its greatest success. By not landing, the crew of Artemis II did their job perfectly. They paved the way for everyone who's going to come after them.
And they didn't just get their mission done. They were breaking records while they did it. Get this. The crew traveled almost 252,000 miles away from Earth. They flew farther from our home planet than any human in history, breaking that long-standing record set way back by Apollo 13.
And this quote just sums it up perfectly. Space researchers, they aren't calling this a missed opportunity. They're calling this successful test flight. This non-landing, the single biggest step toward our next big victory on the moon. It's the foundation that all future moon landings are going to be built on. So Artemis 2 proved the taxi works. The next missions are getting the lander ready. The path back to the moon is being cleared, one careful step at a time. Which leaves us with one last really big question to think about. Once we're back, not just for a quick visit, but to stay, how is this new era of lunar exploration really going to change our future?